two things that you mentioned there that are very important and often not brought into the discussion. When the Prophet ﷺ said, remember frequently, hadim al-ladhat, the destroyer of pleasures. It's not just the destroyer of your blessings. It's the fact that that person that you're looking at, who has billions and billions and billions of dollars, millions and glamour, subhanAllah, when they die, not a single penny can be accessed. And you think about that, like not a single penny can be accessed. Not a single phone call can be made. It's like, wait a minute. I don't care what you build on their grave. We're in the same situation. We're in the same boat. And the one amongst us who is greater is the one who has a greater share in the hereafter. So the redirecting of pursuits. Allah knows we have a competitive nature inside of us. وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. Allah says, compete over that. See, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Your own blessings. Say in the blessing of Allah, the bounty of Allah and His mercy, let them find joy in that. Meaning, instead of these worldly blessings you have, find joy in that. But then when it comes to competition, don't stop competing. Compete over the right things and in the right ways. When you compete over that which is righteous, then you only compete in righteous ways too. You're competing for what is a righteous reward and competing in righteous ways. So competing with your brothers and sisters, you're trying to get ahead with them. You find joy when they get ahead and you want to get ahead too. So you compete for good deeds and you love them. The way Musa alayhi salam, the prophets are the greatest example of this. Musa alayhi salam saw the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's like, subhanAllah, this is things I wish I could have had. But then he gives them advice on how to grow this ummah, right? Because let's be real, 50 prayers a day. Are you still becoming Muslim with 50 prayers a day?
Inshallah,
you don't have to,
yes.
Inshallah,
yes.
There you go.
Inshallah, yes. I would have been like, hey, how do we break these up? But definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, how do we?
See, that was the right response right
there. That was
there.
the right response. But the fact that Musa alayhi salam still gives him advice, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam advice, and tries to make things easier for us, right? And we have that way forward. When Ibrahim alayhi salam sees the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and sees his ummah, he's proud. Gives salam to the ummah. Says, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give salam to your ummah. And then he gives us some ways to get ahead. Here's some seeds you can plant for Jannah. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Like Ibrahim alayhi salam told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give us salam and tell us, plant some seeds for yourselves in paradise. That's what you should be doing right now. So it's like, compete, but compete over the right things. And so that's one element that you bring in of hadim al-ladhat, the destroyer of pleasures, that person's not going to have any of this when they die. We're all going to be in the same boat. And the second element of this is when it comes to paradise and that competition over paradise. That's an open competition. And it's for the taking. And the beauty of it, when we get into paradise, may Allah make us from the people of Jannah, and may Allah make us from al-Firdaus al-A'la, the highest level. We don't have hard feelings towards each other. That's one. Number two, no matter what level you're in, you think you're in the highest level. You don't see people above you having more than you, because that would grieve you, which is one of the blessings of paradise, right? Because if you're in paradise and thinking you're left out and deprived, then it's not really Jannah for you, right? So subhanAllah, these redirects. Allah does not crush our nature. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala redirects it to its most perfect potential. And that's what this pursuit becomes. So Sister Sarah, someone says, look, I know I should be pleased with what I have. And I know I should be thinking well of what other people have. But I can't shake this jealousy and envy that I have. I can't stop comparing myself to other people. What do I do?
Jealousy is one of those natural human emotions, but it's one of the ones that we feel most judged for and we judge ourselves most for. And it is one of the ones that can be most detrimental to us. It can really lead to a sense of dissatisfaction. And it's just a very hard feeling to experience. And one of the reasons why it's so important to work on that feeling of jealousy and try to really combat it is because, in essence, when we're jealous and we have this idea of why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless her or him with that and not me, it can it can inevitably lead to some doubts. It can lead to us questioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wisdom, when we're thinking, that should have been me. But we don't know better than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose that person for that blessing, then that means that's the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's some good in that, whether that's their test, whether that's, there's some sort of good in it for them, and there's some sort of good in it for us that we were not blessed with it. And when we can embrace that, it really helps to alleviate any of those doubts or negative feelings that we might have toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so how can we take that step to really combat that feeling of jealousy? I think one of the most helpful things is to create a mindset shift that instead of looking at a blessing that somebody has and think, why them and not me? Instead, view it as an indication that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to them, then there's always the possibility that He can give it to me too. And making dua for that person, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases them in whatever good there is in that for them, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you that as well. So that it's not or, but it's and. It's natural for us to want things that we don't have. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam describes it beautifully, where he says that, if the son of Adam were to be given a valley filled with gold, he would want too, and we all want that. And that's actually a quality that can be beautiful, is that you're always striving for better. You're always striving for good. So how do we channel that quality to gain good in this life? Is you look at your circumstance and you think to yourself, okay, I'm in this boat. How do I make the most of it? And if I am dissatisfied, is there something that I can change? Is there something that I can take control of in this moment to yield something positive? Is there something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me that I can do to create a change in my circumstances? And then also, I think one of the things that's really important is to look at the blessings that you do have. A lot of times we're always looking at the blessings that other people have, which causes us to ignore the blessings that we do have. And that's where jealousy can come into the mix and be really detrimental. So shifting our focus in terms of that can also be really powerful.